Barbara Mandrell enjoyed a dazzling 38 years in show business before retiring 9 years ago. After all this time, her reputation as the best stands strong. Known as a tireless entertainer and perfectionist, her versatility and showmanship are legendary.
Yes!
Barbara's unique contribution to entertainment is now being honored by other top stars with the tribute album, She Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool.
It is a slamming album. I'm so proud and so excited that they did this out of their love.
All the excitement has brought Barbara back into the spotlight. And tonight, in a rare and sometimes raucous interview, she relives some of her best and most spectacular career highlights.
It was great. I mean, it was great.
Her most personal memories.
That was by far the hardest thing I ever did.
And her funniest predicaments.
Stop it. I did.
I'm learning. I thought I knew you, Barbara Mandrell.
It's Barbara Mandrell, best of the best, from the stage of Nashville's historic Ryman Auditorium.
I'm going to start by asking you the question that everybody wants to know. And it's a simple question. How are you?
Oh, thanks.
It has been 9 years
I'm
since
great.
people have seen you.
I am really, really great. I'm very, very happy and very grateful. As we speak, in the last, I would say 3 or 4 days, I've even said to my husband, Ken, a few times, we are so blessed. It's just, every time we turn around, God blesses us. So I'm happy.
And how do you describe to people what you have been doing since you announced that you would leave the stage?
Nothing that would be new to anybody else. Today, before you and I are together here at the Ryman, I have done a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of housework today. And I fed all of my critters, which takes about 45 minutes, and swept up all the birdseed outside. I mean, just things that sound so boring as I say them out loud. But, oh, and I changed the water in all the bird baths. I lift 40-pound bags of sunflower seeds and rip them open and pour them into the fresh cans that contain. I just do homemakey kind of things.
So you are living a gloriously normal life.
I'm a really regular person.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I really do. I really do, because, you know, right or wrong, it works for me. It makes me happy, and it's okay and fine with my husband too. I've really kind of become a homebody. So I don't know. It takes quite a lot to get me out and about.
I know you were not planning to come back into the spotlight, but this tribute album has brought you back to us.
It has.
So is this something that you avoided?
No, this is, it's like Oprah Winfrey says, this, you know, God can dream bigger than we can. And I didn't dream anything this big. What a huge, enormous, indescribable gift of love. To me, it was most interesting when I was at every session. And when I first walked in and I realized I'm going to hear somebody else sing one of my hits. And I didn't know how that would feel, you know? And it was good. It was really good. It felt just, my heart just was palpitating, and it was a whole grand experience that I never thought of before. Every single artist gave it their all, and it is a slammin' album. I'm so proud and so excited that they did this out of their love.
I have heard the album, and I agree with you. I love it. I think it's spectacular. But why didn't you sing on it?
You know, I retired from my musical career.
Okay.
I only sing in the pew with everybody else at church, and that's it, really. And if I have something, if you wanted me to do something and it had something to offer, you know, I would. But I gave it my best. I did all I could do in those 38 years. And I wanted to be, and I was very prayerful about it. And because of the generosity, so much love and so much kindness of the fans, and I'm not being hokey, it's a fact. They were so kind to give me enough celebrity status and enough success and all of that. That's why I was able, when the moment came, to retire. And I'm so grateful to the fans. And I didn't give the fans up because, well, hey, I was shopping yesterday. And I mean, and I signed some autographs yesterday, and I spoke to a bunch of really nice people. So I didn't give up the public.
That connection will always be there
Always.
between you and the fans.
Her incredible journey to stardom began when she was practically in diapers. Her parents, Irby and Mary Mandrell, are both talented musicians, and at age 2, Barbara was already plucking out songs on the piano. By age 11, she had mastered 7 instruments.
It's Barbara Mandrell. Let's hear it for her. Go, honey, go!
Known as the sweetheart of the steel guitar, she became a popular performer in Las Vegas, but she was no cutesy novelty act. With poise and professionalism well beyond her years, she shared the stage with the likes of Red Foley, Johnny Cash, and George Jones. In high school, Barbara was a beauty queen, winning the title of Miss Oceanside, California, but she was not a pampered princess. The Mandrell family band, which now included a handsome drummer named Ken Dudney, toured the world, entertaining American troops in 13 countries. Still a teenager, Barbara was a seasoned professional, and she was in love. The handsome drummer had become a dashing Navy pilot, and just weeks shy of her high school graduation, Barbara and Ken were married in a traditional military ceremony. Barbara left show business to become a wife and mother, but it wasn't long before she was beckoned back to the stage and to her destiny, and it happened in this very building.
We are sitting here in this grand, historic Ryman Auditorium. How old were you when you were sitting there and watching the Opry?
When I was sitting there, 19.
You were 19. And what happened at that moment?
At some point in time during the show, and my memory, it's like if I was on the witness stand, as I recall, it was Dolly Parton that I was watching. Oh. And I just remembered thinking, I can do this. I want to do this. So I turned to my father and I said, Daddy, if you'd manage me, I want to get back. I want to get back in the business, because my husband Ken was overseas being a Navy pilot on an aircraft carrier, and I was here, you know, with my family. So he said, quote, I would bet my last penny on you, and I will do it, you know. So it started right here.
When we come back, the best advice that took Barbara Mandrell to the pinnacle of success.
You should have some life about you and some attitude and some showmanship. You should entertain these people.
This camera up here, please.
And later, she becomes one of the world's most famous celebrities, but remains awestruck in the presence of her fellow superstars.
And I'm just going, like I am right now, about him and how I loved him so and how wonderful he is.
Oh, this world we're in today sometimes ain't a pretty place, but when I look at you, I see something beautiful.
On numerous occasions, Barbara Mandrell has received the ultimate invitation, a request from an American president. Whether performing in our nation's capital or participating in the President's Physical Fitness Council, she always jumped at the chance to serve in this special way.
Good morning. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you, President. Thank you.
Like the Queen of England up there.
You have had the privilege of performing for and befriending 4 United States presidents.
In my life, in my life, just to have seen the White House would have made me.
Yeah, and you know what I'm thinking? I am trying desperately to put myself in your shoes. Receiving a call from the President of the United States and knowing I'm going to have to go to the White House or wherever and perform for the President.
Because you mentioned it, after the car crash and my head injury, I wasn't Barbara Mandrell, and we've all heard that story.
Right.
And it's one that I don't enjoy reliving.
Right.
However, I just didn't like to go out in public. I was very uncomfortable with it. We were invited to a state dinner. Well, I couldn't say no to that. Somehow or another, I got brave enough to go. When you get there, there's this handsome, in a uniform, military gentleman, and then he hands you, I think I'm not saying this stuff right, but your escort card, I believe, okay. Which then you look, and that then tells you which table that you're, you know.
Okay.
And I kept the whole time, I'm holding Ken's hand just as tight as I can. I'm saying, whatever you do, don't leave me. You stay right by me all night, you know. And he's opening the card, and I'm saying, come on, Ken, what is your, tell me. Mine was the president's table, but Ken's wasn't. Oh. And we're walking in, and I'm seeing it's the president. Ken looks at me, he says, you're with him. And I just said, I think I'll be just fine. Thank you so much, honey.
Goodbye, darling.
Oh, it was great. And then another time I got to sit right next to President George Bush. I got to use his glasses because I was trying to recall on the program the name of something, and he reached in and pulled out, and then he like this, and I'm under the table reading it, and I said, Mr. President, I'm so sorry, but I don't have my glasses. And he took his glasses off, and I put his glasses on. I thought that was so great. I wish I'd had my picture made in them. It's just moments like that I will treasure forever and ever.
And they're simple moments.
Yeah.
Great memories, just great memories.
Precious memories.
Your patriotism is so well known. Now, you started as a little girl touring the world, so many different countries, performing for our military. Why do you think that you have such a deep, abiding respect for our men and women in uniform? It shows in everything you do.
My parents, Irby and Mary Mandrell, made me very, very aware of how privileged we are as Americans. And they are very, very patriotic. My father served in World War II, and he was on landing party at Leyte. When you hit the beach and they're shooting at you and all that. And naturally, when he formed a band, you know how you have a summer vacation from school? So I'm in junior high, and we have our summer vacation, and the Mandrell family band went to Japan, Okinawa, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Taiwan, Guam, and Korea. This is an important memory of mine that I treasure, to see what our men and our women firsthand, and to be a 17-year-old female and in Vietnam in the midst of all of this. It was so scary and so different. It's like absolutely walking through the screen of a movie and you're in it. It's like bunkers and sandbags, and throw grenades in cars. You have to keep your car windows up. It's 120 degrees outside. I mean, all of these sort of things.
The Mandrell family band ventured beyond the enlisted men's clubs into field hospitals and remote areas where U.S. troops were isolated.
And my dad said, if you got a generator. So they pulled a tent off of where they had a wooden floor, got the electricity. We went into this other tent. My mother and I changed clothes in our costumes, and the guys and Dad changed, and we did a show for them in the...
Right then and there.
Out in the field. And I'm going to tell you something else.
What? What?
At this one place, they had what I would call an interesting outhouse.
Oh, I shouldn't be laughing.
I'm serious. Well, no, in the middle, we're out there. We're out there with, in the jungles of Vietnam, so to speak.
This is not the Four Seasons.
No, but I had to go to the bathroom. And my mother and I are, of course, the only women there. Oh. But there was this one outhouse thing. And what happened was the wood would come up solid to where when you're setting, you can only see you from here up. Okay, fine. And I go, going to the bathroom. And I start looking, because I'm hearing people talking in noises. They're coming in out of the field from whatever you call it. These
maneuvers guys or something.
Whatever it was, and I'm sitting on the toilet, and they go, and one of them goes, hi, and I went, hi. I'll be out pretty soon. Well, you do what you gotta do.
Up next, the fun continues as Barbara Mandrell reveals a shocking secret passion.
Stop it. I did.
I'm learning. I thought I knew you, Barbara Mandrell.
And the day that passion escaped her during a television love scene with actor Tom Wopat as she overcame a serious case of the giggles.
I just planted one on him, and I didn't laugh, and I had it from then on. It was smooth sailing.
For 38 years, Barbara Mandrell's life and career soared to the greatest heights. But who knew that she was secretly dreaming about soaring of a different kind?
You know how everybody, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want most? Yes, I had the best career that anybody could ever, and certainly way more things than I ever dreamed for me. And I wouldn't change any of it, and I loved it. However, you also have that underlying, what would you really like? I wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot. So I guess.
Wait a minute.
For real.
For real?
For real.
Do you have that kind of guts?
I promise you I have that kind of guts. What I don't have is that kind of brains, because it is so difficult.
Her desire became reality when she was invited to fly with the Blue Angels, and Navy pilot Kurt Watson allowed her to take the controls.
I said, do you think could I possibly do an aileron roll? And he laughed and he said...
Now, aileron is it this?
My hand won't do it, but yeah. It's like...
It's flip. Okay.
And he laughed and he said, okay, I'll walk you through one to the right. Take the stick, keep hanging on. And he did it. And then he let me do it. And then he said, you want to do one to the left? I said, yes, sir. And he said, let me walk you through it. He did one. And then he let me do it. Then he volunteered and said, you want to do a loop? I said, yes, I do. And
now, a
that's
loop is woo all the way.
I can't be the airplane.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I love, and my daddy was always the one that would ride with me on, because I love roller coasters and I love all these really exciting, rough rides like that. And doing the flying with the Blue Angels, the flying with the Thunderbirds, and then finally the F-18. It ruined my roller coasters for me. I mean, they're still fun, but they went way down.
Barbara can't get enough of the rush. She went skydiving with the Army's Golden Knights, and she completed special training with Colonel D.L. Smith of the Air Force Thunderbirds, then climbed aboard his F-16 for another ride of her life.
He did a high-speed, low-level pass over the runway. I mean, the throttle was, the pedals to the metal, okay? And we were, when I say low, I mean, I'm talking low. It was so cool. And then he, unbeknownst to me, popped it straight up. It was great. I mean, it was great.
We had some show rolls and loops, and she just wanted more. We had to come back because we ran out of gas.
It's even better than I thought it would be. I just can't get over it.
Sadly, just a few months later, Colonel D.L. Smith was killed in the line of duty. Undaunted in her admiration for fighter pilots, Barbara went after the ultimate experience. She wanted to catapult from an aircraft carrier in an F-18. Only after completing the Navy's intense water survival training was she allowed to do just that.
So Admiral Mackey brought me from shore out to the USS Coral Sea, which has now been retired, that ship. So I had 5 arrested landings and 4 catapults. So you go like 0 to 170 some odd miles an hour in 3 seconds. And then you come in and everything just goes forward.
That blows me away that you would want to be a fighter pilot. What is it about flying at that speed? Is it the power? Is the exhilaration?
Perhaps it's because also, and still is to this day, but when I was a teenager, my passion, besides music, I love the drags. I love drag racing. Stop it. I did.
I'm learning. I thought I knew you, Barbara Mandrell. I thought I knew you.
I love the drag racing. I had a friend that had a Mopar, with a 426 Hemi with dual quads, ram induction, Hurst 4-speed, blueprinted from the factory. It was just, and he let me drive it once, popped a 6-inch wheel stand. I was bad. So, since things like that I really love, I love speed. I love the sounds of the engines. I love the way my husband looked in his flight suit. And other guys in their flight suit are pretty good too, if I'm going to be real honest with you. And I like the physical way it feels.
You are a wild woman.
When you hit the nitrous in the car, it gives you a little bit of a kick in the rear end, you know. But there's nothing can compare to our military jets. It's just extraordinary. I mean, and to think some of these guys are so smart and so good, and they can do it every day. I mean, wish I could.
Which leads me directly to one of the most spectacular performances you ever did, with an estimated audience of about 1 million people.
1 million.
In 1991, Barbara was again called to Washington, D.C., this time for the most important and thrilling concert of her life, the USO Victory Celebration of the Gulf War. All branches of the military gathered with their families in a huge crowd of proud Americans that could be seen for miles.
It was the most memorable, most special. It couldn't get any better than that, to have the biggest and the best. It couldn't have.
Is that what they call being in the zone when you're performing, where everything is just surreal,
You know
and
what?
it's working? And
Yeah, you say that beautifully. Yes, it's true.
I'm just glad we're in a country where we're all free to choose. I was country when country wasn't free.
God bless all of our branches of the service. God bless the men and women. I don't think any of us, unless it's part of our family or us personally, realize the sacrifices, tremendous sacrifices that they make, just so we can be free.
Still to come, it's not her best moment.
The one, the only Barbara Mandrell.
She is one of only 6 entertainers to earn the Academy of Country Music's Triple Crown, for those who have won all 3 of the coveted Newcomer, Vocalist, and Entertainer awards.
I don't think you have any idea how much I love you and how I pray for you every day. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. God bless you.
Another incredible moment was in 1982 at the People's Choice Awards with her surprise win over Carol Burnett and Barbra Streisand. But even that wasn't the best part.
Jimmy Stewart presented the all-round favorite female entertainer that night. Jimmy Stewart.
Barbara Mandrell.
And all I could think of, Jimmy Stewart. I'd never met him, and he said my name, and he's standing right there, and I'm going up to him. Don't you love it when you meet somebody famous that you're such a fan of? Of course, I was such a big fan of his, and you want them to be all that to you, and then they are, you know, in the wings, and I'm just going like I am right now about him and how I loved him so and how wonderful he is, and he just stopped me. He said, "Barbara, this is your night. This is about you." He was even better than I had dreamt that he would be, you know.
isn't it true, though, that as the years went by, you found yourself in such an elite group? Talk about the best of the best.
I had them fooled. They let me in.
I don't think so. But no, I mean, the people who respected you and embraced you with friendship, I'm talking like Bob Hope, Charlton Heston. I know James Brown asked you to dance with him.
Twice I've danced with James Brown.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Jerry Lewis, Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, the legends in entertainment. These are your friends.
But you know what's really special, if I may say so, to give credit to my own trade? Across the board, not just country music, and not just pop music, and not just actors, and not just, but entertainment people. They really are open to it.
The winner, Miss Barbara Mandrell.
By 1981, just barely out of her 20s, Barbara Mandrell was regarded as the best, winning CMA's Entertainer of the Year. She also became the first to win the honor twice in a row. As surprised as she was, Barbara remembers having a deep feeling early on that something this big could happen.
Back behind me, on the bottom, way back, almost the back row, my father and I, it was my first CMA award show, was done here. And I remember my gown was very pretty. My mother had made it for me. Oh. And I remember being totally just like some giddy schoolgirl, which I pretty much was, but of all these stars. And watching them perform and watching them receive these great honors. And I remember thinking, and I don't mean to be, when I speak this way, I don't mean to be immodest. I'm trying to be extremely, totally candid with you today. I remembered thinking to myself, sitting there, that'll be me. I'll be doing that. You have to, I think, believe.
You have to.
Or it's never going to happen.
Exactly.
Be grateful, but believe.
So what does it feel like to walk on a stage in front of your peers knowing that they have just voted you the best?
It's more than my words can say. It's pretty, in fact, don't you remember every time practically, tears, it would just make me cry. I remember being so mad one time when I read something about some award show and coming up and of course Barbara Mandrell will win and cry. Oh, that hurt me so bad because it was just a flood every time. Such joy, such joy.
What does it mean to you, since you have won so many entertainer awards, what does the word entertainer mean to you? What does that encompass?
What does it really mean to me? I'm gonna shoot straight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go way back to when I was a beginner in this business. As a little girl, I remember Joe Mathis telling me, and Merle Travis told me, and Tex Ritter told me, if you walk out on a stage, you should be dressed in something special. And you should have some life about you and some attitude and some showmanship. You should entertain these people. It's called show business, you know, show them something. Otherwise, they can stay home and listen to recordings. They can listen to the radio. You need to give them a visual sight. And so that was very much in my head. And so to me, I always would strive to work hard physically and love it and enjoy it, to savor the expressions that I could see of the people close enough, you know, that I could see their faces and to see what really appealed to them, to be as versatile as I could.
You took it to heart. There were many times I had the pleasure of being at your live performances, and I got to be on the side of the stage when you would come off after performing for 20 minutes and you were rushing off to do a costume change. You could barely breathe. I thought you were going to pass out. I thought, how is this woman going to do another hour out? And you would come right back out in a few minutes.
Sing a ballad.
Yeah. How is she doing this? It seems that you would almost kill yourself.
I don't know. I like challenges. I still like challenges, but I know throughout all of my career, I was delighted by challenges. And I'm the one that would challenge myself.
Nowhere was that more evident than in her NBC variety show, Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters, a huge hit in 1980 and 81.
You just did it, girl. You did everything on that show. Singing, dancing, skits of all kinds. Prior to that show, did you realize you could do all of that?
No, even in the moment, I didn't. No, but you know, it's this may sound silly, but I don't mean this as a joke. I mean this dead serious. And Louise and Arlene would tell you the same thing. Our parents always made me feel like there was nothing I couldn't do. I'm serious. They instilled such confidence in each of us girls. I guess that's why I've always had the guts or the tenacity to just, even if I don't know something, I've done that with these stupid things I do, like faux painting and mosaicing and what. I don't know what I'm doing, but I jump in with both feet, you know? And that's the way it was in my career. And the television show was certainly a place to really fly.
And fly she did. Barbara so enjoyed the exhilaration of dance that she incorporated even the toughest moves into her stage show.
I felt to be an adult, I was in my early 30s, and to be learning something brand new felt fantastic. It just really mentally and spiritually, and I mean to really be something difficult and something hard. So I would just, any lift, no matter, even if it was a bit dangerous, I was for it, you know.
Rather than being worried about her safety, Barbara's main concern was having to wear the traditional skimpy dancer's leotards.
I'm sure we've all seen them, we've all, and you know how they're kind of cut up kind of high on the leg, on the hip?
Yes.
And I was pulling them down. My sisters love to tell this to me, but I was pulling them down on the sides, like halfway down my thigh to my knee. I was so embarrassed to be in this outfit, for heaven's sake. And so there was, after the World Series, there were these Steve Yeager and some of the from the Dodgers that won that year that wanted to meet us, and they were on the lot rehearsing something they were doing, a voiceover or something, and we were rehearsing dancing. And my sisters said, when they came in and told us to come, the guys want to meet you, they said, and Barbara just went, boom, boom, pulling the sides. But I'd been dancing for a year then, and I liked it.
You tease.
I liked it. Well, it made it, good memories, hard work, lots of sweat, but I just adored it.
Barbara, you look like a teenager.
The television show launched Barbara into superstardom, a fact she didn't even realize until she encountered her adoring public.
It was, it was like surreal. It was like I was some big, giant, good-looking, young, studly movie star. I mean, they were screaming and they would come up. It was unbelievable, the power of television.
Despite the show's immense popularity, Barbara ended production after only 2 seasons.
I had to quit the show. It's hard to walk away. It was hard for me to walk away from a hit show. And this is back before all the cable, and we were averaging 40 million people a week. I mean, that sounds like the most outrageous, but it was. And to walk away from that was, I didn't want to, you know. But my health, and I had been told by the throat doctors, if you keep this pace and you continue this, it'll never be the same. And so I had no choice. I took cortisone in the hip every Thursday from the nurse that brought it to my dressing room, which is steroids, you know.
Prior to taping.
We taped on Thursday and Friday. That's how bad my throat was. I didn't just make this up. Because the steroids, it'll shrink the cords, and I would be talking like this and have the whole show to be doing. And they would time it where the shot would be given, and within 45 minutes, then I could give you a full voice. It was hoarse, and it was rough, but I could give you the full voice. And most of my shows were done on such a hoarse throat.
Well, I heard you were practicing 16 hours a day, rehearsing.
That was mostly dance. It's hard, don't laugh.
Next, Barbara Mandrell's best memories collide with her worst in her raw and candid best-selling autobiography.
That was by far the hardest thing I ever did.
And later, she experiences the thrill of victory.
It was great. I mean, it was great.
And the agony of embarrassment, both courtesy of the U.S. military.
They're coming in out of the field from whatever you call it.
Maneuvers or something.
Whatever it was, and I'm sitting on the toilet. and they go, each other. There's this kindred spirit, or almost without exception. It's been very, very rare, very seldom in my life that I have seen exceptions. But when there would be some enormous pop star that knew who I was, and even named one of my songs to me about, I really love the way you did. It was like, I was like, huh? I mean, you know, like disbelief. But that's the way it really is.
Did you ever feel like, I'm not worthy, I'm just not worthy of these people?
Because I'm in awe.
A superstar in her own right, Barbara reveled in her many opportunities to learn from the masters like Bill Cosby, Bob Hope, and Lucille Ball.
And I loved watching her in action, but that was a privilege. And to be with Mr. Hope and work with him was a privilege. And moments like that I treasure, and I shall never forget, and I shall always be grateful.
Barbara called upon her famous friends for what is still one of the most impressive charity events ever held in Nashville. Superstars from all realms of sports and show business suited up for her Celebrity Softball Classic. The event raised $500,000 for the Vanderbilt Transplant Center, spearheaded at the time by Dr., now Senator, Bill Frist.
They asked for every recipient of an organ in the audience, in the grandstand, to please stand. And it was like this huge, I have no idea the number, you know, that have had kidneys and hearts. And our little boy at the time that threw in the first pitch had had a heart transplant. He was only alive because of that. So it is important. And I'm so glad you let me mention that that was a vital.
I am assuming that your most difficult achievement was writing your autobiography.
You are so perceptive. That was by far the hardest thing I ever did.
In the writing of the book, you had to be extremely candid. It was about your entire life up to the accident, during the accident, after the accident. Reliving that, was that a problem?
Yeah, I'm going to say, because I think it was very important with the book, because over and over and over again, people would come to me that it was either their mother or their husband or their child or that had a serious head injury, thanking me for sharing about my head injury. And so that made it worthwhile. It truly did. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was worth it, because initially I thought, you know, I joked about it. I said, yeah, my family will buy it and some of my fans might be forced to buy it or something. But it was the 12th biggest selling nonfiction book in all of 1990. I'm so proud.
Would you ever write another book?
I don't think so.
You just did that.
I don't think so. Okay. I've been asked a couple of times.
I'm sure.
And I considered it for a moment, because they do pay you right nicely too to
Don't
do
they?
it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
But oh man, I think I'd rather paint and stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that open. So maybe somewhere, in case anybody's listening that might know.
When Barbara Mandrell, Best of the Best, returns, the superstar rubs elbows with a president.
He took his glasses off and I put his glasses on. I thought that was so great. I wish I had my picture made in them.
And the moment that brought her right back down to earth, getting caught by surprise in a military outhouse.
And one of them goes, hi. And I went, hi. I'll be out pretty soon.
And coming up, Miss Mandrell's wild wish.
I wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot. So I guess.
Wait a minute.
For real.
For real?
For real.
Well, do you have that kind of guts?
I promise you I have that kind of guts. What I don't have is that kind of brains, because it is so difficult.
The Great American Country.
As an actress, but it is her funniest, Barbara Mandrell shares a movie kiss, or at least she tries to, with Tom Wopat.
So we try it again, and I can't. I'm just laughing. And I just.
Are you nervous?
I didn't know. I didn't know.
And her heartfelt message to all of us who are her fans.
I don't think any of you could ever know how much you've given me.
Having excelled in so many forms of entertainment, Barbara Mandrell delved into acting. Her most challenging role was portraying herself in the TV movie Get to the Heart, a gritty recount of life following her car accident.
I'm not sure I can do this. Well, of course you can. Come on, girl. This is your big comeback performance. I've never had stage fright before.
But it was her very first movie, co-starring Tom Wopat, that caused her the most anxiety.
So I guess tomorrow I start making house calls.
You want company?
Thanks, no, I think I need to jump in, sink or swim, all on my own.
Do you have a best scene that you ever did, or a most memorable scene?
Yeah, I have a most memorable scene for many reasons. There was this scene where we're supposed to kiss. And
You and Tom Wopat.
Tom and I. So, everything's smooth as glass, going great, and then it comes time, he puts his arms around me, we're supposed to kiss, we go to kiss, and I just start laughing hysterically. I can't control it. I mean belly laugh. So we try it again, and I can't. I'm just laughing. And I just.
Are you nervous?
I didn't know. I didn't know. Because that can certainly, I had thought, well, I'm crushing this man's ego, for heaven's sake, you know. So that night, because Ken always would run my lines with me, we did this scene. And when it came time to kiss, and I went to kiss Ken in the scene, I started laughing. Ken says, that's it. He says, you're just very nervous about this kissing thing. And he says, grow up. I mean, come on. Okay. So the next day, I told Tom, I said, could you come here a second? And I brought him into the bathroom, and I leaned him up against the wall, and I said, excuse me, Tom, but would you do me a favor? And he said, sure. And I said, could I kiss you, please? And he said, okay. So I just flat planted one on him, and I didn't laugh, and I had it from then on. It was smooth sailing. Got over it.
That's hilarious. Barbara, you know, you have spent the majority of your life working yourself to the bone and just giving and giving and giving. I think I speak for all of your fans, and we just hope that life is giving you back what you desire now. I hope that's the case.
I don't think that you or any of the people that were so kind to be fans of my work, I don't think any of you could ever, ever, ever know how much you've given me. You've given me the life, not only that I had through my career, but the life I have now, which is absolutely superb. I am a happy, blessed woman. Like I said to you in the beginning, every time I turn around, it's just, thank you, God. I am so blessed. And I hope you all know how much I love you for all you've done for me.